Nick Angstadt of Locked On Mavs. Nick, join us on the FanCam Twitch and YouTube. Nick, what's up, man?
Nicholas.
Nick is not there.
No.
He's muted.
Oh, you muted. There you go.
Nick, we got
Gentlemen,
There we go.
Oh, he's there.
you. So
if there's a fire in Rockwell, do you guys have to move all that stuff and get out of the way, or or everybody just toast over there?
No, that's why they had, that's the benefit of doing it from a firehouse. They can put it out without us ever having to move.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Nick, have you ever been in a fire truck before? That's why I should be asking you.
Probably when I was a little kid, little plastic hat, got the sticker.
Have you ever been in a fire before?
Have I started a fire?
Or been in one?
Been in a fire? No, never.
Okay.
I've been on fire a couple times, hit some threes, felt good.
Nick, when the lottery results happened, myself and I think a ton of Mavs fans, as you probably saw, very disappointed, dropping from 8 to 9. And then when we mock these guys and start talking about the depth of this draft, I don't feel so terrible about it anymore. What are your feelings right now, the Mavs having the 9 spot with the combine taking place?
Sometimes math is disappointing. It was just kind of the odds, right? The second most likely result is that they're going to drop to 9. But this draft is pretty deep in that range, like you said. You get that group of 5 guards: the Keaton Wagler, Darius Acuff, Braden Burries, Michael Brown, right in that range. And any of those guards, I think if the Mavs walk away with one of them, I think that you're doing really well. You've got somebody that you can build an offense around. I think that any of them fit with Cooper Flagg. That's the great thing about Cooper Flagg, is that he's just so malleable that you can put anybody with him. And this pick may determine what kind of team the Mavericks are trying to make or to build around Cooper Flagg, because these guys are different in kind of their own way.
Give us your 1, 2, 3 wish list of the reasonable names.
Ooh, of the reasonable names, I love Braden Burries. I think he's the best defender out of this guard group. I think he is the most versatile of that group. He tested really well athletically. He's the biggest of that group. Like a LeBaron Philon measured 180 pounds, and Braden Burries was 220. That's a huge difference in the NBA, especially at a guard spot. And so he's ready to come in right now. He led that Arizona team to a good record and through the NCAA tournament last year. So he'd be my number one. Probably Keaton Wagler after that, just a really good shooter, shot maker. He's trying to, he said he wanted to position his game off of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Tyrese Halliburton with the pace and space and things like that. And then after that, I probably go Michael Brown. He impressed a lot of people at the combine. He's a guy that a lot of people had in the top 5 before the college season. Then he had this back injury that flared up, and he said he's fine with the back injury. I guess that's what you're supposed to say at the combine, but that would be another guy that has a real high upside.
What about, and I know it may not be somebody on their radar, but people have been asking about the Lopez, the kid from Mexico at 9. Is he somebody that's in the mix or not?
I don't think at 9. That's a guy that I watched at the combine, and I was like, I just don't know. Maybe you're a 3-and-D guy. I'm just not sure what his role is on the next level. But potentially being the first Mexican American player being born or to be drafted is that's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool story.
Nick Angstadt, Locked On Mavs here on Shan and RJ 105.3 The Fan. Y'all's coverage has been everywhere. So were you at the lottery and combine week, or did you have your team out there? Where were you specifically?
Yeah, the team. The team is me and Isaac and the intern. The intern is us. We were both out there. Got to talk to Masai, Mike Schmitz. Got to see the whole lottery thing behind the scenes and everything. It was a good experience.
Give us your opening impressions of the new leadership.
Masai Ujiri walked into a room with every single draft prospect, all their families, all the agents, a bunch of different team officials, and everybody turned around and looked at him. He just has an aura and a commanding presence that when he walks in the room. He's somebody that is one of the best communicators I think that we have as GMs or president of basketball operations in the NBA. He just gets right to the point. He's straight up business. He's just somebody that commands that attention. He commands that respect. And so I think that's something that the Mavericks haven't had in a little while, and is a visionary. And then you bring in Mike Schmitz to be the workhorse, to be the guy to do the day-to-day operations, and to be the guy that does grind the tape and the footage and watch all these guys. And he's had a lot of hits in his career, going back to his time at Draft Express and ESPN. He was a really good draft analyst, and then working for the Blazers the last few years. as the assistant GM. He's somebody that a lot of people at the combine respected because he was there and he put in the time. And I think that I think leadership is going in a good direction. And if you were worried about the Mavs like ability to draft, this combination should completely change that for you.
Nick, we in DFW we've had obviously last year the Cowboys had their struggles on defense, and so it's like, all right, this is the top priority. The Rangers headed into the offseason. It's like, got to do something about our approach at the plate. Things are just not working there. What is like the blinking light for the Mavericks heading this offseason where it's like, that has to get better? If that doesn't get better, you're not doing anything else in terms of progress into next year.
Oh, it's guard play. It's like initiating the offense, having somebody to set things up, somebody that can dribble. I mean, at certain points of the year, the Mavericks had 3 players on the roster that could dribble against certain teams, and you're just like, man, this needs to get better next season. And so Kyrie Irving obviously does that in a big way. He didn't play at all, obviously, last year, and so that's something that will be a huge influx of ball handling and playmaking at the guard position. But they need somebody going forward. They need somebody that they can, build a team around, build an offense around in a way next to Cooper Flagg. And so that's why you look at this group of guards in this spot, and it makes a lot of sense for the Mavericks to grab one of them and basically whichever one falls to them.
How do you weigh Kyrie Irving as a contributor to what the Mavericks can be next year versus as a contributor through the trade market and building pieces moving forward?
Yeah, I think you look at where the Mavericks are and where the Mavericks are positioned like draft wise, and think about like the future of the team. Cooper Flagg is kind of ready to win right now. He played so well. I think he's like a top 30 NBA player already the way that he played last year. And so that's a player that you would expect, all right, well, we can realistically win some games next year if we bring back, a Kyrie like that. And then you look at where Kyrie's been in the past. He's forced to trade out of a couple places or requested to trade out of some places. He's revitalized his image in Dallas, and he's been nothing but professional and awesome with the Mavs. Seems really happy here in Dallas. And so is that somebody that you want to trade and get some pieces for? Is that somebody that other teams would trade for? You look at a team like the Pistons or the Rockets or teams that have also struggled with guard play, and maybe those teams could be there. But the Mavs don't have their draft pick next year, and so they can't play this game of like, let's just go get a bunch of assets and then we'll tank for another year or so and get another good player. That's not in the cards for them. And then even the next couple of years after that, they have swaps with OKC and the Spurs and things like that. And so, I think you keep Kyrie for as long as he's happy, and you have him mentor these young guys. I mean, Kyrie being the mentor of an Acuff or a Michael Brown or whatever guard they bring in is maybe more invaluable than the assets he could actually bring in.
Nick Angstadt, Locked On Mavs here on 105 through the Fan. We go to the Combine now in Indy. And we know what a big deal that is on television. What is the NBA Combine like?
The NBA Combine is like a conference with all the NBA like decision makers all at once, and then there's something else happening over to the side. That's sort of what it feels like. It's just a big networking event. Some of the testing and 5-on-5 things are good. I loved the interviews that we got to do. We posted them all on Locked On Mavs YouTube channel, and so we got to talk to pretty much every one of these guards that I've mentioned. Kingston Flemings was the one that stood out to me. Incredible personality. But that is sort of what the Combine is like. You're just walking around, you see this person, you see Sam Presti, just like taking it all in. And then just deals happening, at least between, some teams probably.
What is the testing they do?
They do they do all the measurements, so wingspan, standing reach, height, and weight. They do all that, and then they do vertical. They do a 3/4 court sprint, a pro lane drill with like a cone drill where they go back and forth. That was one. If you saw that Boozer, Caleb Wilson video that was going around yesterday. They do 5-on-5 too. They do shooting drills. They do all kinds of stuff like that.
Have there been winners and losers so far?
I guess as far as there are winners and losers of like measurements and things like that. I think Caleb Wilson measured insanely well. He's an insane athlete. The wing from North Carolina. I thought Braden Burries and Michael Brown and Kingston Flemings all measured really well athletically. There's the thing about the Combine is it's kind of like summer league. There are like some guys you go, oh, okay, that could be a winner. And then there are some losers too, where you go, man, like this guy did not shoot the ball well. Like Koa Pete airballed one of his shots with nobody in front of him. And you're like, ooh, that's a tough one. Not going to come back from that one probably.
Nick, how much trade up or trade down talk do you think Mavs fans should entertain?
Oh, the fans can entertain all of it. Go ahead. Just like talk it all up. That's what they do, right? I'm not talking any of them off of like any kind of trades, because this whole process, you fall in love with somebody and you think about what range they're in, and then you're just all in. I've seen people say, "Oh, we have to trade up for Acuff. That's the guy. He's the next Kyrie. He's the next whoever." Yeah. And if you get stuck on a guy like that, then sure, yeah, I don't think the Mavericks are going to trade up. That's not something Masai Ujiri has really done in his career. The Mavericks don't have a ton of assets going forward in order to do that. They don't have just like an abundance like the Jazz or the Thunder or one of these other teams that are just like, yeah, we can part with another first-round pick going forward. That's just not the position the Mavericks are in. And then I think they're going to get somebody good. One of those guards is going to fall to them, and so I think you just you deal with the punches that are thrown to you in the draft and go forward with it. But trading down is another option that people have thrown out, that Thunder trade. If you can get 12 and 17 for number 9, would you do it? That's something that people have thrown out a lot. That I don't know. Let's see if the Thunder would even want to do that.
How much are you buying the talk of Washington trading out of 1?
As soon as Utah was 2, I was like, man, Utah's going to do anything they can to go get DeBonsa. I mean, that's the Utah BYU guy. Like Ryan Smith, their owner, has invested in him in that program a lot. I can't imagine that they wouldn't throw a whole bunch at the Wizards to move up. And then if you're the Wizards, man, go get those assets, because you probably want Darren Peterson anyway. That's definitely a better fit with your team. And Darren Peterson is an incredible shooter, incredible athlete, and had that weird story at Kansas, but it seems like it's clearing up now with whatever the creatine story was, that he overdosed on creatine or whatever that was. But at least he'll be there in the NBA with pro dietitians and trainers and things like that, and hopefully that clears all that up.
Nick, thank you so much for the time, man. Keep up the great work. The Combine audio and video really jumped out. Thank you so much, and enjoy the weekend.
Absolutely, boys.